TC News.
Grateful beyond belief. Good evening. I'm Brock Burgee. That is how Rochester Public School Superintendent is reacting to news of a $10 million gift to the district. Kent Pickell says this investment from Mayo Clinic means RPS can avoid closing schools, raising class sizes, and cutting programs. KTTC's Charles Kelly joins us live in studio tonight to explain more about what this gift means for the district. Charles.
Brock, there are many components to this announcement, but Superintendent Kent Pickell outlined this morning the revised proposal would keep Pinewood Elementary, Mighty Oaks Early Learning School, and Riverside Elementary open. RPS announced those three schools would close under a previous plan announced last month to trim $10 million from the district's budget. That controversial announcement came after Rochester voters rejected the district's November referendum. So back to the revised proposal made public today after news of Mayo Clinic's much-needed financial lifeline. Now the 45-15 calendar would remain in place at Longfellow Elementary. In an effort to maximize space, Pinewood Elementary would move into the same building as Longfellow Elementary, but Pinewood would stay on a traditional schedule. The Mighty Oaks Learning School would move into the building currently occupied by Pinewood. Riverside would continue to operate as K-5 where it currently is. Superintendent Pickell, all that said, voters can expect another referendum in 2024, but if the community doesn't show support, these painful cuts will return a year from now.
This is what I would call a bridge proposal, and the fact of the matter is, if we are not successful in passing a referendum over the course of the next year, we would have at least $10 million or more to cut. We don't expect Mayo Clinic to write a $10 million check every year. It would make no sense. They are providing critical support to maintain our momentum academically at this time.
The proposal would move the Gage Elementary and Willow Creek Middle School Spanish immersion program into Riverside, expanding to operate as K-8 language immersion program. RPS is continuing to receive feedback on the revised proposal, and an updated version will be presented at the RPS School Board meeting in January 9th and discussed in its study session on January 16th. The vote on the finalized proposal will be on January 23rd. I'll be breaking down more at 6 on what this could mean for transportation and school start times in Rochester based on the revisions to this proposal. In studio, Charles Kelly, KTTC News.
Charles, thanks. We appreciate that update. Covering Iowa tonight, 2 people were arrested in Clear Lake in connection to an ongoing murder investigation out of the state of Michigan. 50-year-old Margaret Kempanen and 20-year-old Jacob Kempanen of Wisconsin were arrested last night at a Clear Lake gas station. Clear Lake police received word from the Houghton County Sheriff's Office in Michigan Tuesday at about 6 p.m. that the 2 suspects were nearby. They were said to be armed and dangerous. They were arrested a couple hours later without incident. They are currently in the Cerro Gordo County Jail awaiting transfer to Michigan on murder charges. An update now for you from court in the case of the man accused of stabbing Derek Chauvin. An Arizona grand jury has indicted 52-year-old John Tarskik on several charges, including attempted murder. He is set to be arraigned on January the 5th. Tarskik allegedly stabbed Chauvin 22 times with an improvised knife the day after Thanksgiving. Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen joining us now live from the weather patio tonight. And Nick, instead of snow, we are talking rain for Christmas.
Yeah, we are, Brock, as we're tracking a weather maker on the way for this upcoming weekend, and it's not snowfall that we'll have, it is rainfall across the region. It may be 1 to 2 inches of rain. Why is that happening? Well, temperatures will be warm, just like they were today, right? We were in the low 40s for high temperatures for today, 41 in Rochester. They got up to 43 today in Austin and 41 in Albert Lee. Temperatures outside on our Lucinato live camera, still above seasonal averages. We should be mid-20s this time of year in terms of our afternoon highs. We are at 34. Wind out of the east at right around about 8 miles per hour. We'll continue with temperatures here tonight in the mid-30s. I do think we drop down into the upper 20s just briefly by tomorrow morning. We continue to increase the cloud cover. I can still see the moon out here, just some high-level clouds. We're pretty much partly cloudy, but we will increase that cloud cover quite a bit here overnight, as we do have a storm system that is down to our south and southwest. Really not expected to impact us too much. That low pressure system there that moves to the east. The biggest thing is it just allows for some warmer temperatures to settle in through the rest of the week. Hour by hour forecast here tonight. We're getting down to the upper 20s for those lows, and notice a lot of cloud cover here tonight. Tomorrow and into the rest of the week, I think the cloud cover sticks around. This upcoming weekend, we could have record highs maybe Saturday and Sunday. Monday for Christmas, awfully close to a record high too. We'll have the first alert on that coming up in your full forecast. Brock, we'll send it back to you.
Nick, thanks so much. We'll see you soon. In just a few days, 2 days in fact, after dozens of people had to be rescued on Upper Red Lake, officials are now working to get a plane removed from the icy waters. The Beltrami County Sheriff's Office says 2 people were going to Upper Red Lake for a day of ice fishing. After conducting a flyover, the pilot identified what he believed to be a safe landing area. However, the plane had difficulty slowing down because of lack of snow. The nose of the plane ended up breaking through into open water. Both people in the plane were wet from the waist down, but they were able to get out of the plane safely and were brought to an area resort where they were provided dry clothing. Officials say only 1 to 2 inches of ice was reported where that plane went through, approximately 1/2 mile out from the southeastern shore of Upper Red Lake. Arrangements have been made to try to remove that airplane. And just 2 days after dozens of people, actually, we just had that story. We will move on to the next one. Minnesota's new state flag selection will go before the legislature next spring, and if all goes smoothly, they are going to fly the state flags over the Capitol for the first time on May 11th. Today, as the state warms up to this new emblem, KTTC's Quinn Gorham asked some Minnesotans at the state capitol, how they feel about the final design.
Minnesota has a new state flag, and it's very apparent that the commission who decided on it loves the design. But what do Minnesotans think? I'm here on Grand Avenue in St. Paul, finding out today what the people of Minnesota think about their new flag.
The new flag was finalized on Tuesday after the State Emblems Redesign Commission picked a stylized version of an original submission. Rather than the striped design, the commission opted for a simpler blue-on-blue look. It seems opinions are all over the place on the new design. Some people explain they love the simplicity of the new flag and are fully behind it.
I never was attached to our old flag. I couldn't probably draw it for you. I've certainly seen it flying, but I think these new simpler designs look great.
Others, while acknowledging it's an upgrade, say the new flag could have been better.
But I'm not really all that keen on the design. It's a little too modern for me, but that's just me.
But it seems the majority opinion was underwhelmed. One Minnesotan explained that he wished they'd stuck with the original design.
But I was a little disappointed that they got rid of the 3 stripes. I thought it was kind of cool to have like the water, the land, and the snow kind of symbolized there.
It seems that while opinions are all over the place on the flag itself, most people can agree it's better than the old one. Reporting in St. Paul, I'm Quinn Gorham.
The commission will likely draft up its official report next week, sending it off to the legislature for a vote next year. 11 of the 12 voting members voted for the state flag design. We have an update for you on teacher contract negotiations within the Plainview Elgin Millville School District. According to Superintendent Darren Stroessel, the district and union have reached a tentative agreement. He says because mediation is a closed process, neither group can share details of that agreement. We do know that the next step is going to be a vote by the union. Teachers and staff have been fighting for better contracts since June. Earlier this month, they stopped covering for other teachers during their prep time. And a reminder, the 70th annual Eagles Cancer Telethon on KTTC will be here before we know it. All of that money stays right here in Minnesota. We hope you'll join us on January 13th and 14th as we raise hope and awareness for cancer research. Still ahead for you tonight at 5, we will break down Colorado's decision to remove former President Donald Trump from the state's primary ballot. And this story, prices at the pump. Hear what the White House is saying ahead of the busy Christmas travel season. And in your first alert weather forecast, we will have more details on just how much rain we are expecting. seems unusual to say in connection with Christmas, but it's true. Nick Jansen joins us after the break. A story now we've been following since yesterday, citing the U.S. Constitution's insurrection clause. The Colorado Supreme Court has removed former President Donald Trump from the state's presidential primary ballot. Joining us to discuss what this all means for the 2024 presidential race is KTTC's White House correspondent and attorney, John Decker. John, let's begin with this. Why did the court rule that Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president?
The Colorado Supreme Court agreed with a lower court holding that Donald Trump engaged in insurrection. And based upon that, they cite Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. That section stipulates that any person that swears an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution and then engages in insurrection is prohibited from holding any public office ever again. And this was a 4-3 decision. The three justices on the Colorado Supreme Court who did not want to agree with the majority in prohibiting Donald Trump from being on the ballot said that A, Donald Trump has not been charged with insurrection, and B, he did not get the due process that they feel is necessary to take this draconian measure to essentially ban him from being on the primary ballot in March. So what happens next? We know that Donald Trump, through his attorneys, will likely appeal this very quickly to the U.S. Supreme Court.
So, John, you touched on Trump's potential next steps here. Follow-up question, could other states take the same action that Colorado has taken here?
Brock, other states are indeed taking the same action that Colorado took yesterday. They are in the process of taking that action. Maine, Michigan, and Oregon, various steps in the legal process. Michigan, it's the Michigan Supreme Court that will decide whether to take up an appeal coming from those who lost in their effort to remove Donald Trump from the ballot in their primary. There are other states that may also follow suit and follow the lead of Colorado. That's the reason why Donald Trump would very much like a definitive answer from the Supreme Court and an answer quickly. And I think indeed that the Supreme Court, once that appeal is filed by the Trump campaign, will announce that they will take up this matter to decide this issue once and for all.
White House correspondent John Decker helping us better put this into perspective tonight. Thanks so much, John. Gas prices are down as nearly 104 million Americans are expected to drive to their holiday destinations over the next few days. According to AAA, the national average gas price is around $3.09 a gallon, which is down from both last month and last year. The White House says these gas prices are an improvement, especially as the U.S. deals with international conflicts in Israel and Ukraine. A White House coordinator for energy security says the administration has been working to lower gas prices since the start of the war in Ukraine, when gas prices started to skyrocket.
It went to $5 a gallon. The president ordered the release of 180 million barrels of oil into the market. That had a huge impact of bringing that price down so that American consumers didn't have to pay the price for Putin. And since then, we've been trying to keep the prices there and bring them further down.
This year's driving forecast represents a nearly 2% increase over last year and the second highest on record behind the 108 million Americans who hit the road back in 2019. Consumer confidence in the U.S. is at its highest level since July. That is according to a Conference Board report that was released today. The business group's Consumer Confidence Index jumped to 110.7 from a downwardly revised 101 in November. Economists at the Conference Board say that December's increase in consumer confidence is a sign of positive current business conditions and job availability, along with a more positive outlook on personal income.
Here's your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen.
Plenty of sunshine, nice temperatures out there. If we're going to have this warm weather, we might as well enjoy it. There's nothing else we can do about it.
There's really nothing else we can do about it at this point in time. Unfortunately, it does look like probably a brown Christmas this year. No snow. I don't think there's any chance of snowfall in the near future. And I'm always reluctant to put a 0% chance on something because, again, the weather can always change. But right now, I'm pretty confident that we will not see any snowfall from now until Christmas. And really, we might actually end the month of December with just a ½ inch of snowfall officially at RST. So our White Christmas tracker, we're at a 0% chance at this point in time because we're looking at record-breaking temperatures on the way for the upcoming holiday weekend. Precip forecast, there is a weather maker and it will impact us this upcoming holiday weekend. We're looking at Christmas Eve and again on Christmas, just not snowfall. We are looking at rain, and we could actually have a lot of rain, maybe 1-2 inches of rainfall possible, extending Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday. So it will be a wet holiday, just not snowfall. We're tracking rain because look at these temperatures the next 10 days. Saturday, Sunday, the 23rd, 24th, we are looking at high temperatures potentially reaching 50 degrees, 47 on Monday for the high on Christmas, and then we start to cool things down. But even we're cooling things down into the 30s. Well, that's still maybe 10 degrees above average. You can't have snow if those temperatures are above the freezing point. Our average last 40-degree day is December 13th. That's looking all the way back since 1900. This month, we've had a lot of 40-degree days just this year alone. We average about 4 every December. This year we have 8. The most that we've had is 18, set back in 1913. I don't think we get 18, but I do think we get more than what we had in 2015 is when we had another strong El Nino year. We had 13 days in the 40s. I think we're probably right around about 15 if we're able to get into the 40s through the next about 7 to 8 days. Tonight, mostly cloudy and mild. Temperatures are staying in the upper 20s, about 13, 14 degrees above average tonight. Late week here, warm and cloudy. We start to increase that cloud cover, and then our next weather maker moves in for the holiday weekend. Currently, Lewis and Ada live camera, temperature here in Rochester at 34. Still registering some clear skies, but we continue to increase that cloud cover. Wind is out of the east, about 8 miles per hour. Temperatures here locally continue to be in those mid-30s. We have some upper 30s in La Crosse at 37. It's 35 now in Mason City. Talked about that cloud cover continuing to increase. That cloud cover moving to the east-northeast here, so we will be mostly cloudy through most of the overnight hours here tonight. Future track, temperatures holding steady, low 30s and some upper 20s here tonight. Fast forward to tomorrow. I do think high temperatures with a southeasterly wind. We should warm up into the upper 30s. A good chance at reaching 40 degrees coming up on Thursday. Friday rolls around. Again, maybe a couple little stray showers early on Friday morning, but not rain or not snowfall. Temperatures into the upper 40s, potentially to round out the work week. Tonight we're at 27 for that overnight low, partly cloudy here tonight. Tomorrow 40 for the high. Wind out of the southeast tomorrow 5 to 15 miles per hour. So high temperatures, low upper 30s, low 40s for Thursday. We're mid 40s on Friday and in the 50s on the way for the weekend. That would be a record breaker on Saturday and a record breaker on Sunday. The record high for Christmas is 50. So we're fairly close to that. Showers likely late Christmas Eve into Christmas morning, and those showers continue all the way until Tuesday. Oh, I got to come over here, Brock, don't I? I almost forgot. You know, we changed that in our little template, and I forget sometimes that we just like talking so much.
We wanted you to get in a few extra steps tonight.
Yeah,
Nick.
I got to jump over the train tracks that no one can see here other than us real quick.
And agile he is, trust me.
I try.
All right, Caitlin.
All right, Brock and Nick, many of us aren't crazy about our personal data being sold. According to a consumer advocacy group, one particular company has increasingly capitalized on selling cardholder data it has access to on third-party marketplaces. We'll tell you what our consumer investigator found out tonight at 6. Brock will be right back.
Right now, what we've learned about the warning China's president recently delivered to President Biden about Taiwan. And we take you into the heart of the Christmas travel rush, behind the scenes with the TSA, and where they're finding the most guns on Nightly News.
All right, as people come together to celebrate the holidays and enjoy the winter break, neurodiverse families often contend with extra challenges brought on by sensory overload, changes in routine, and all of the varied social interactions. But there are ways parents and loved ones can help navigate the Christmas time chaos and end-of-year excitement to keep things merry and bright. Gloria Pazmino has some tips and tricks to help you have a holly jolly, sensory-friendly holiday.
Sometimes the things that make the holiday season sensational can also lead to sensory overload, especially for neurodivergent children.
We love the holidays. They are so exciting, but often some of the things that make them so exciting can be really overwhelming and difficult for our kids.
For those families, that means enjoying timeless traditions like food, travel, and gifts often comes with significant challenges. But Kayleen George of AutisticMama.com says there's a lot parents can do to keep the holidays calm and bright. And it all starts with managing expectations.
Focus on what is reality for our family right now. It may not look like the picture that's in your head, and that's okay.
Setting expectations for kids, too, is key, particularly when traveling. To help, George recommends showing them what every step of the journey will look like.
We are going to grandma's house, and it's not somewhere we typically go. Having a picture of grandma's house or grandma at her house, having a picture of what the chairs look like there.
She also says to establish priorities and accept that your holiday may just be a little different.
You are allowed to step back and say, right now, we're going to bake cookies and we're going to make it to the holiday. And that's as much as I can do right now. And that's still a beautiful and magical holiday for your family.
I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
More health news. There is new evidence to suggest a plant-based diet can benefit your health and even reduce your risk of developing diabetes. The British study followed more than 113,000 people over a dozen years. It found people who ate the most grains, fruits, and vegetables while limiting sweets and sugary drinks dropped their risk of developing diabetes by 24%. The study also found that people who ate the healthiest diet were not overweight and had better blood sugar levels and lower levels of inflammation in their bodies. We'll be right back.
We have an update on a New Jersey bull that caused a transit backup last week. You can now buy him yourself.
So we're not talking about the actual bull. That's what we're talking about. The New Jersey Transit is offering a plush toy of Ricardo. You recall the story, right,
I remember,
Nick? Yep.
yeah. I don't know how, we still don't know how we got there, right?
Well, let's see. Let's read. The steer was bound for the slaughterhouse who made a run for it last week, and then there was a photo of him, right? Caught on the transit tracks. Ricardo was delaying trains until he was eventually cornered by authorities. He was granted a new lease on life and is doing well at an animal sanctuary. Once he clears all of his medical tests, he'll get to roam the 240 acres, which is shared by more than 400 other animals. The plush Ricardo goes on sale on the New Jersey Transit Shop website starting January 3rd, and part of the proceeds will go towards supporting his new life at the animal sanctuary.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's awesome. But yes, we still don't answer the question, how did Ricardo get there?
He had said he escaped, right? So any bull that's looking to escape, maybe you can find your way to an animal sanctuary soon.
You definitely don't want to stand in his way. So if he had his mind made up, yeah, we'll let him go.